Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Brandon. So at the end of 2017, I put out a video talking about my favorite albums from that particular year, and I, didn't do anything like that this year, but I wanted to do something for next year and what is going to be my last video of 2018, looking forward at some albums that I think are going to be the ones that I'm looking forward to the most in 2019. Now, be prepared because none of these have album covers that I've been able to find, and in addition, 3 of them that I put in this video that don't even have names yet, so be prepared for some interesting substitutions there. So with that, here we go. None of the albums in this video are in any particular order, but we'll start off with The Bookends by Eric Gales. If you watched the video I made back in 2017 where I talked about my favorite albums from that year, Eric Gales' most recent album before this one, Middle of the Road, made that video. I, again, can't reiterate my amazement with whatever Eric Gales does in his music, and despite the fact that he's a really great blues guitar player, he also, puts a lot of heavy thought into the other instruments other than his own, and it shows with every album he does because there are some elements that if you go back through his catalog that are just absolutely amazing and right on point, and it just kind of hits you like I never expected this to be on in a blues rock album. But that's fantastic because that's what I'm here to see and whatnot. I also started reading recently when this album was announced that there's quite an interesting backstory to Middle of the Road. Again, that was my first Eric Gales album that I really got into, and thereby his music, and I found out that during the lead up to Middle of the Road, or what came of it, Eric had apparently hit some hard times with a drug arrest, did some time, and Middle of the Road was basically him coming back and saying, I am going to put my life back together and, create music, and that's kind of what I came to do. And, well, he did it and put out an amazing album. So to keep that in mind about Eric is, puts a whole kind of different perspective on, his work for me. And I think it's a good perspective because, while I'm on one end of what I think about that kind of circumstance versus, drugs are bad, okay? I think it's great that Eric came back and delivered Middle of the Road the way he did, and going into this new album, which again, no idea what's on it yet, I'm expecting the same great quality of music that he always delivers, and I have a feeling I'm not going to be really disappointed at all with this. In addition, I know Eric is going on tour in support of this album, so I don't know what that looks like yet, but if he happens to swing by somewhere through the Denver area, best believe I'm showing up because I want to see this man live so bad. So, Eric Gales, if somehow you're watching this and your tour is coming through Denver, hopefully I get to see him, man. That'd be awesome. So, that's the first one. The next album looking forward to in 2019 is another one on this video that is going to have a title to it. That is Next to Machines by the band Cryoshell. Okay, so this one I have to set up a little bit with some context in order to kind of understand where this is coming from. So back between 2001 and 2010, the Lego company, the little build 'em toys, whatever, they had created a toy line that started in 2001. They had developed it a couple years prior, and it was called Bionicle. And this band Cryoshell, in about 2007, when they were, getting their start, they were doing some of the promotional music behind the toy lines that were coming out around, again, that 2007 time frame. And let me tell you, this toy series defined my damn childhood right here, okay? I actually keep this guy still on my desk, as silly as and corny as that sounds, but this guy still sits on my desk. He actually was a part of that 2007 line. Anywho, Cryoshell was making toys for the Lego company for the Bionicle line starting in 2007, and they came out with a commercial with their, really first song that had any sort of impact. It was called Creeping in My Soul, and, the commercial they paired it with, it was one of the best toy commercials I've ever seen. You should go check it out. I'll try to link in the description if it's still up there on YouTube. But as the series started to die, they released their first studio album, the self-titled album, in 2010, which had 10 tracks. Again, a new reworked version of Creeping in My Soul was on there. and all the other tracks, save for the very last one, were all, you know, really solid metal, you know, bangers, if you will. And then, as awesome as Cryoshell's rise was, they kind of went quiet real quick. That is in due part to their singer Christine Lorenzen. She had a child, which, you know, that makes sense why things would go quiet for a while. And during this time where Lore was not there, they had two vocalists come in and they did two versions. There's a third version now with Lore on it that's coming out in the next release. But two versions of the song Gravity Hurts, which was a female and a male singer. And I dig the female version more, but that was it. And then they put out a single with that same female guest vocalist in 2012 called Breakout, and then things, again, quiet. Nothing happened. Well, fast forward to now, and we get, in March of 2010, a fan account, yes, a fan account, published a new song from Cryoshell. It was a rework of the jazz song performed by Nat King Cole, called Nature Boy. They just changed it around and titled it Nature Girl. But nonetheless, you know, you think of an old-time song, you're like, oh, you can't rework this. This is fine as it is. What Cryoshell did to that song was absolutely amazing, and it was really spooky. So, you know, and then through 2018, still in those periods was slow, but then more new songs started coming out. More new songs started coming out, and it was like, oh, this is actually happening. There is a new Cryoshell album, and it is happening. You know, what can I say? I'm looking really much forward to this, you know, again, with music that, for all intents and purposes, defined my childhood and the childhood of numerous other kids across the world who got exposure to the Bionicle toy line. I guess kind of that's a double-edged sword in Cryoshell's case, because yes, that's what got them to the start, but also that's what they're always going to be tied to, is, you know, having worked with Lego. But because you can go in the comments of any of their new songs and you'll see comment after comment talking about something to do with Bionicle. You'll see it there. But nonetheless, with what they've put out, and you know, it's not really aggressive in terms of like a metal sound, but what they've put out is also, it fits their style, but it's a reworked way of doing what they do. And it's really interesting to hear, and I can't wait to see what the final album is gonna, you know, sound like if, you know, it does come out in 2019. But with what's been put out so far, I can't stress how excited I am to, you know, I guess take a nostalgia trip and check it out. The next album I'm going to talk about is the project that's been tentatively titled TPR4 by, well, The Pretty Reckless. You can figure that one out. So we'll just get this part out of the way if you don't know it. So The Pretty Reckless is a band fronted by a woman named Taylor Momsen. If you don't know who that is, but if you're a millennial, you definitely know who that is, because she was Cindy Lou Who in the 2000 rendition of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, that, you know, weird live action version. And, you know, as she got older, she went on to do, like, start in some TV show called Gossip Girl. I don't watch TV, so I don't have no idea what her experience with that is, so don't ask me about that. But when it comes to music, let me tell you, Taylor Momsen is absolutely awesome on vocals, and you know, you see a lot of this coming up, you know, with maybe in the past decade with a lot of female-fronted rock bands, and they're all kicking ass and taking names for the most part. I don't feel Taylor's one of those that, you know, is in the, you know, the forefront of that too much, but you know, people who know who she is, you know, she can deliver, and her stuff is really awesome to listen to, and, you know, along with the rest of the band, of course. I'm expecting more awesome tunes that are, you know, that have come from them and will come from them. In addition, along with Eric Gales, this is the band that's slowly turning me on to E-flat tuning. For those, you know, not in music lingo, this is standard tuning, a half step down. So, you know, whereas your lowest E string is usually turned to E, or tuned to E, it's E flat. The Pretty Reckless is slowly bringing me onto that E flat train, because there are, you know, they put out some great tunes in that tuning, and as does Eric Gales. And, you know, there's bands before them that have done that, but it's TPR and Eric Gales that are really doing that for me right now. And hopefully that doesn't lead me into another dumb buying bass decision. Dumb. So we'll just have to see what happens with that. But again, TPR4, whatever it's going to be, I'm really looking forward to it. The second to last album I have on my little list of things I have in mind is the third album by the Greek gothic metal group, it's kind of a mouthful, Elysian. So here's a kind of funny thing about Elysian. They've been out there since, the latter half of the 2000s, but they've had minimal to no really sort of promotional work. They don't post frequently on their social media, and they actually got an Instagram account just this year, and they're getting more frequent with uploads on their YouTube channel, which has included some live renditions, studio renditions of their songs from the Someplace Better album, Made of Lies, and Someplace Better. And as a testament to how much I actually like this band, I've covered the song Made of Lies twice for YouTube. First one was, I believe, what was it? It was done back in, I don't remember when, but I did my second version this year, and I liked it so much more better because I, actually learned a little bit more on how to mix audio. When I posted the 1-minute clip, as I usually do for these kind of videos on Instagram, they saw it and they liked it, so made my day right there. So there's that. I think one of the things that really got me into this band when I first discovered them was due to simply the fact that I got bored one day. I was like, I want to listen to more gothic metal. And so I opened up Wikipedia, searched the gothic metal genre, and they had a whole list of bands, and I just kind of clicked through each one, listened. I eventually came across them, and lo and behold, I bought their first 2 albums. Funny enough is that Elysian has opened for Lacuna Coil at one point, which, if you're tied to Lacuna Coil in some way, you get bonus points in my book. So, I'm not sure what I'm going to get with this one. I know it's going to be good for sure, but I'm not sure what I'm getting. And, this one's kind of really wrapped up in a surprise for when it finally comes out that I think I am going to enjoy, and hopefully tons of other people are going to enjoy. And before we move on to the last album that I'm looking forward to, please check Elysian out. They are very awesome. They they just really kind of started getting into social media this year, and again, go check them out. They would love you for it. I would love you for it because they're awesome, and they deserve to be recognized for their work. So please go check them out. The fifth and final album that I'm going to talk about in this video, I don't want to give it a just a generic untitled album. I'm just simply going to call this whatever in the hell Limp Bizkit is working on. That's what I'm calling this one. Okay, where do I begin on this one? So I was in between my sophomore and junior year of high school when their most recent album, Gold Cobra, came out. It was the summer of 2011. I was actually vacationing in Maryland at the time because my dad was, because of his work situation, he lived in Maryland. So I went and saw him. I bought the deluxe version of Gold Cobra at a Best Buy that I was able to load up onto my Microsoft Zune, because yes, I had one of those at the time. I had one of those, and I had that album on repeat all through that summer because it was a fun album. And yes, I'm on the track of where I like Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit is kind of a very much a you hate them or you love them kind of deal. I've seen few people in between there, so I'm on the very much the love side. So that's where I'm at with Limp Bizkit. It's been a long wait for something new from them because at the time Gold Cobra had been out for a while. They had announced that they were going to put out another album called their 6th album called The Stampede of the Disco Elephants, as weird as a title as that is. And they did drop some singles that were supposed to come from that album. One of them which was actually the song Ready to Go, which featured Lil Wayne on it. I'm not one to really favor Lil Wayne too much. He's not my favorite rapper, but on that song I really liked him because he met the energy that Limp Bizkit was coming with on that track, and it was really a nice track. And when Ready to Go, the Lil Wayne track comes on my iPod, because I got up to an iPod and I hear it, I'm like, oh man, here we go, and then I kind of crank it up a little bit while I'm driving. However, this album, whatever it's gonna end up being, there's talk of it not actually being whatever Stampede was supposed to be, because Loudwire had ran this thing saying Limp Bizkit is recording a new album, and it kind of gave the impression that it wasn't going to be Stampede. Nonetheless, whatever this album is, when it finally comes out, it's going to be coming out of a very extensive development hell cycle. And you know, again, we don't know it's going to be Stampede or not. Recently this year, Wes Borland has posted clips from a studio on his Instagram where he's playing some stuff, and it's kind of, you know, I don't know what it is, but he's recording something, and it has to do with Limp Bizkit because that's what everyone kind of speculated it is. And I can't wait for there to be a time where Anthony Fantano reviews whatever this new Limp Bizkit album was, because his review that he did for the Gold Cobra album was actually, it wasn't a review, it was just a troll video, and it was absolutely hilarious. You know, you don't have to watch the full thing to get that he wasn't going to review that album very well. But I'm on the Limp Bizkit side of yes, biscuit, bring on the biscuit. I want to see more biscuit. Bring on the biscuit. Please, bring on the biscuit. Well, there you have it. Last video for 2018. Hope you liked it. If you want to, you know, keep up with what I do, hit the subscribe button. You know, like, comment, share the video, whatever you want to do with it, go ahead. And speaking of things in development hell, Limp Bizkit, I have a video idea that I've had in development hell for a long time, detailing my top 10 albums of all time that I am looking forward to putting out, hopefully early on in 2019. Hope you have a wonderful new year. Looking forward to all the new music and fun things that come with every new year. So, have a good one. See ya.